Do you have a favorite class in the game so far?
As Michael mentioned, Michael Mann, our lead systems designer, mentioned, the Tempest right now is one of my favorites. But, you know, we haven't announced whether or not there's going to be a Bard yet, but that's what I played in EQs. So whenever we get to talking about that, it's going to have a special place in my heart.
Talk about how you're using different classes to utilize different playstyles. Like the Cleric, which would normally be a support caster in the back, is now a frontline battle commander, as you call them.
Right, so what we wanted to make sure of was that everybody, no matter what your class and what your role is, you have an active part in every combat. You know, the Cleric is a great example. They're all about bolstering their allies while hindering the enemy, but at the same time doing damage. Now, maybe the Cleric can't do as much damage as the Wizard can in a moment-to-moment gameplay, but by buffing their friends, their allies, they're able to put out at least as much damage as the Wizard could, a group of Wizards could, by them being involved. And, you know, when you get all the different classes together, you can get some really interesting combinations.
From a technical perspective, what are some of the biggest hurdles you've had to go through in developing Landmark and EverQuest Next?
Well, the destructible world is one of the big deals, and it's why we focused on it first, the ability to manipulate and build and destroy things in the world. Because having a world that is fully destructible is something that no MMO has attempted. There are games out there that have done that, but they're single player or very small multiplayer kind of games. The amount of data that needs to be passed around is large, and so we needed to find solutions for that so that we could make it available to the broadest audience possible. That was one of the first ones. We're also taking AI in a very different direction. We've been talking about our partnership and our collaboration with Storybricks because we want the game to feel and look different. A fully dynamic world where the stories can change and the way you play it can impact the way the story plays out in the world is something that we hold near and dear to our heart. And it's a very different sort of thing, so we have to solve new kinds of problems, and they're all great, but they take a little bit of time to do.
Talk about the different armor sets in the game. There's light, medium, and heavy armor.
So actually, what we talked about is there are different kinds of armor. Right, it's very easy to try to go to the normal classifications of light, medium, and heavy, but that doesn't really play out. What we want is we want every piece of armor to promote a particular kind of gameplay. Like maybe you want to move around a lot, or you want to get in close and fight. And you know, getting in close and fight, normally you'd call that a heavy armor, but we didn't want to be limited by the fact that you couldn't do that in a robe, right? There may be a robe that has a particular ability modifier on it, what we call keywords, that will really make it very beneficial to use that in close, but it's not heavy armor the way most people think of it. So we're just talking about the fact that there are different kinds of armor that give different types of abilities, promote different playstyles.
How are you developing Landmark and EQ Next in terms of power? Can like anyone with an average PC player, does it better, of course, on the high-end PCs?
So much like all of the games that we create at SOE, we want to make sure that we have them available to the broadest audience possible. So what we try to do is make sure that what we're doing is for people who have the higher end PCs, they just get more bells and whistles. The particles are more full or more spectacular. But what we want to make sure is that everybody gets to play a game that's fun and interesting as long as they have the minimum spec for the games.
And if people wanted to find more information about Landmark, where can they get it?
You can go to landmarkthegame.com, and if you wanted to find out more about EverQuest Next, there's also everquestnext.com. We're constantly putting information and things up there for people to be able to read, talk to us, interface with the team, because this is a collaboration we're doing with all of the community. So.